Have you ever received an urgent call claiming your prescription medication has been recalled due to dangerous side effects that could kill you? Martha Rodriguez, a 78-year-old heart disease patient from Phoenix, Arizona, thought she was protecting herself from deadly medication when pharmacy officials called about a critical recall of her heart medication. Within 24 hours, she had paid $9,000 for replacement drugs and stopped taking her legitimate life-saving medication. Martha's story reveals how medication recall scammers target seniors with chronic conditions, using their dependence on prescription drugs as manipulation tools. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how these pharmacy fraudsters operate and learn the warning signs that could save your life and money. Stay until the end because Martha's experience shows how these medication scams can be more dangerous than financial fraud. They can actually kill patients who stop taking prescribed medications based on fake recall warnings. The emergency recall call. It was a Tuesday morning in October when Martha's phone rang with a call that would nearly cost her life. She had just taken her morning heart medications when her caller ID showed what appeared to be a pharmacy number. Mrs. Rodriguez? This is David Chen from the FDA Medication Safety Division. I'm calling about an urgent Class 1 recall of your heart medication that poses immediate life-threatening risks. Martha's heart began racing. As someone who had suffered 2 heart attacks and relied on cardiac medications to stay alive, the thought of taking dangerous drugs terrified her. David continued with practiced medical authority, using official FDA terminology that sounded legitimate. Mrs. Rodriguez, the FDA has issued an emergency recall for your metoprolol heart medication due to contamination that has caused fatal heart arrhythmias in patients your age. You must stop taking this medication immediately. The caller knew Martha's exact medication name, dosage, and pharmacy information. This personal medical knowledge made his warning seem credible and terrifying. David explained that the contaminated medication had already killed several elderly patients. I need to stress how serious this is. The contamination in your medication batch can cause sudden cardiac arrest. We've documented 12 deaths in patients over 75 who continued taking the contaminated medication. Building pharmaceutical fear. David continued using impressive pharmaceutical terminology that Martha didn't understand, but that sounded official and frightening. He described contamination processes and cardiac risks with the fluency of someone who had studied medical language. Your specific lot number shows contamination with industrial solvents that create toxic metabolites in cardiac patients. These compounds interfere with your heart's electrical system, potentially causing fatal arrhythmias without warning. He explained that Martha's age and heart condition made her particularly vulnerable. The fake FDA official created urgency by claiming that every hour she continued taking the medication increased her risk of sudden death. I've been handling medication recalls for the FDA for 10 years, and I've never seen contamination this dangerous. The cardiac toxicity develops rapidly, and patients often have no warning before fatal arrhythmias occur. David provided fake recall numbers and FDA case references that sounded official. He spoke with authority about emergency pharmaceutical protocols and claimed normal recall procedures were being bypassed due to the life-threatening contamination. Because of the immediate danger, the FDA has authorized emergency replacement medication distribution. I can arrange for uncontaminated heart medication to be shipped directly to you within 24 hours. But you must stop taking your current medication immediately. The replacement medication trap. David explained that Martha's replacement heart medication would cost $9,000 because it was a specialized formulation required for patients affected by the contaminated batch. He claimed her insurance wouldn't cover emergency replacement drugs. The replacement medication is a purified cardiac formulation specifically manufactured for recall situations. It's more expensive because of emergency production requirements, but it's identical to your regular medication without contamination. David created additional urgency by explaining that the FDA only had limited supplies, and patients who didn't order within 24 hours might not receive replacement drugs for weeks. I need to be direct with you. We only have enough emergency replacement medication for the first 200 patients who respond. After that, patients will have to wait 4 to 6 weeks for new production, which could be fatal for someone with your cardiac condition. The fake FDA official guided Martha through the payment process, explaining that emergency replacement drugs required immediate wire transfer payment to secure her supply. The FDA Emergency Pharmaceutical Distribution System requires upfront payment to expedite shipping and bypass normal insurance delays. Once you receive the replacement medication, you can file for reimbursement through the FDA Patient Assistance Program. The fatal decision. Martha felt trapped between taking potentially deadly contaminated medication and paying for expensive replacement drugs. David had created such convincing fear that continuing her prescribed medication seemed like risking immediate death. She agreed to order the replacement medication. David provided detailed wire transfer instructions, emphasizing that any delay could result in missing the emergency distribution and being left without safe heart medication for weeks. You're making a life-saving decision. This replacement medication will protect your heart while the FDA investigates the contamination. Many patients your age don't survive when they continue taking contaminated cardiac drugs. At the wire transfer location, Martha hesitated when asked about the payment purpose. David, still on the phone, coached her to explain it was for emergency FDA replacement medication, which sounded legitimate. Martha sent $9,000, believing she was saving her life. David assured her that replacement medication would arrive within 24 hours and instructed her to immediately dispose of her contaminated heart medication. Stop taking your regular medication right now. Even one more dose could trigger fatal arrhythmias. Your replacement medication will arrive tomorrow, and you'll be completely safe. The medical crisis. Martha immediately stopped taking her prescribed heart medication and threw away her remaining pills. David had convinced her that even a single additional dose could kill her. By the next evening, when no replacement medication arrived, Martha began feeling chest pain and shortness of breath. When Martha called the number David had provided, it was disconnected. Growing increasingly worried about her worsening cardiac symptoms, she called her real cardiologist's emergency line. "Mrs. Rodriguez, there is no FDA recall of your heart medication. You've been scammed, and stopping your cardiac medication could kill you. You need to get to the emergency room immediately." Martha's cardiologist explained that suddenly stopping heart medication can cause rebound cardiac events. She was rushed to the hospital, where doctors confirmed she was experiencing medication withdrawal effects that could have triggered a fatal heart attack. Your heart medication keeps you alive. Stopping it suddenly based on fake recall information is extremely dangerous. These scammers nearly killed you. The devastating Truth Hospital doctors immediately restarted Martha's cardiac medication and monitored her for withdrawal complications. She learned that legitimate FDA recalls are always communicated through official written notifications, never through unsolicited phone calls. The horrible reality became clear. Martha had been completely scammed. The criminals had used her heart, condition, and medication dependence to manipulate her into paying for non-existent replacement drugs while endangering her life. Martha discovered that these medication recall scammers specifically target patients with chronic conditions because they know these individuals are most frightened of medication dangers and most dependent on pharmaceutical treatments. The investigation FDA investigators explained that Martha had been targeted by a sophisticated operation that studied real pharmaceutical recalls to create believable medication emergency scenarios. The scammers obtained patient prescription information through illegal medical data purchases. The investigation revealed that the same group had scammed dozens of chronic disease patients across multiple states, stealing over $600,000 while potentially endangering lives by convincing patients to stop taking prescribed medications. Police discovered that the scammers used detailed pharmaceutical knowledge, fake FDA credentials, and legitimate-sounding recall procedures to create medical emergencies that bypassed rational thinking. Warning signs. Martha missed. Looking back, Martha identified several red flags she wished she had recognized. Unsolicited. Calls about medication recalls. Legitimate FDA recalls are communicated through official written notifications from pharmacies and doctors, never through surprise phone calls. Immediate payment demands for replacement medication. Real medication recalls provide free replacement drugs through established pharmaceutical channels and never require patient payments. Pressure to stop medication immediately without medical consultation. Legitimate recalls always involve coordination with patients' doctors to ensure safe medication transitions. Wire transfer requirements for emergency medication. Established pharmaceutical distribution systems never require wire transfers for recall-related medication replacements. The road to recovery. While Martha never recovered her $9,000, her cardiac health stabilized once her medication was restarted. Her experience led to increased awareness about medication scams targeting chronic disease patients in her community. Martha learned to verify all medication-related communications through her established healthcare providers before taking any action. She realized that legitimate pharmaceutical recalls always involve coordination with her medical team. Most importantly, Martha discovered that discussing her experience with other chronic disease patients helped prevent additional victims who might have endangered their lives by stopping prescribed medications. Final thoughts. Martha's story demonstrates that medication recall scams are uniquely dangerous because they can kill patients who stop taking life-sustaining drugs based on fake warnings. These criminals understand that chronic disease patients will do anything to avoid dangerous medications. The key lesson from Martha's experience is this: legitimate medication recalls are never resolved through unsolicited phone calls demanding immediate payment. Real FDA recalls are communicated through official medical channels with coordination from your healthcare team. If you receive calls about medication recalls, hang up and contact your doctor and pharmacy directly to verify any recall information. Never stop taking prescribed medication based solely on phone calls, no matter how official they sound. Remember, protecting your health means getting medication information from legitimate medical sources, not from criminals who exploit your medical fears. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.